Hello and welcome to episode 65 of Pacific Horseplayers right here on the HHH Racing Podcast. I am your host, Noah Meagher, joined by my good friends Jackson Muniz and Ryan Anderson to take you through the stakes races this Saturday at Santa Anita. We've got 4 of them. Feature on the card is the Grade 3 Robert B. Lewis, which awards points for this year's Kentucky Derby. So looking forward to that on Saturday, and we'll get into those shortly as we've got a feline guest in the hands of Ryan Anderson joining us for the first couple of minutes here.
I heard Noah likes cats, so.
I do like dogs as well. So, I don't discriminate around here. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor. Power Picks tip sheet, of course, strong beginning to 2026. That's supposed to say $2.50 ROI to start 2026. My bad. But $2.06 all time. So make sure you go check those out. I wanted to make sure that I had that updated. And then you can go purchase those and find out more about us at our website right down there, hhhracingpodcast.com. A couple more things to go over. Of course, you can get past performances and clocker reports for Gulfstream Park and Santa Anita every race day. Make sure you go to drf.com for more info. And then the last thing that I want to bring up, we've got another episode of Weekend Warriors this Saturday, 5 to 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Got the big $3,500 Oaklawn Handicapping Championship that us 3 were actually supposed to be in attendance for, but unfortunately got canceled and moved to this weekend. But it's a 6-7 weekend because Friday's the 6th, Saturday's the 7th. And we actually have it next month too, because you know how you ever seen the calendar for this year, February?
Yeah, it's a perfect month.
Yeah, perfect month. So we get
also no shout out to Black History Month is just so sad from you guys. But whatever.
Well, I was gonna let you take the.
Let me take over? No, I don't want to take
over. But yeah, I think that's everything to go through towards the beginning of the show. Of course, we've got our regular schedule down on the bottom of the screen. If you want to make sure you're updated and keep updated with everything that we've gotten going on in the pod, of course, you can hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. And while you're at it, go over to X and follow myself, Jax in Muniz, and right there at JaxMuniz_. And then Ryan doesn't have his, but you don't need to follow him because we found out earlier today that he actually pays for premium. So, he doesn't really need the followers.
That makes a lot of sense. I was wondering why he had so many more followers than I do. That's got to be the reason, right? Crazy. He pays for them.
I don't buy followers, guys.
I mean, you're at 2,000 and I'm at 300. We post the exact same things. That's the only logical explanation.
I guess so.
I don't get it. I don't get it. Speaking of followers, we got some followers in the chat. Katie is here. Let's bet winners. I've been doing it all wrong, Katie. I need to start doing that here pretty soon. Howard is here, of course. Very excited for Santa Anita Saturday. Got lots of stakes and quality races. Yes, 4 stakes on the Saturday card. And then all over the country, you got some good stuff just because of the cancellations that were going on last weekend. Gary is here. He said, let's get it. And he actually said it twice, so he's pumped for this show. And Marco Lou is here as well. How was the weather? I don't think we need to direct that question to the boys over to the right and the bottom of the screen. But Lexington's been okay. There's still some snow on the ground. I was looking at the weather yesterday, and about a week from now, it's going to be in the 50s. Jackson's going to come golf. We're going to go to Turfway. It's going to be great. So looking forward to that and looking forward to racing on Saturdays. So, Ryan, you're not invited.
Yeah, you don't want to see me swing a golf club.
Yeah.
I put lives in danger.
To be honest, I really do.
Yeah. You see a lot of it, I would think, right? You would hit it a lot of times before it went in the hole?
Oh, yeah. I the ground a few times. He just whiffed. Boom. Yeah. Probably break the club once or twice, too.
I make a solid divot in the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we'll try to make some hits here on Saturday as we transition into the races on Saturday. Of course, like I said, we've got 4 stakes on the card. They're actually all part of the late pick 5, but because Ryan has a hard out at 7 o'clock his time, we're going to try to fly through these 4 races as quickly as possible. And the first race that begins the discussion is race 5. It's the Thunder Road, grade $300,000 purse, a mile on the turf. We've got a field of 5. A little disappointing that this rendition came up a bit short in terms of field size, but some decent runners in here, including the number 1, Gas Me Up, who's 6-5 on the morning line for Mirko De Muro, and Peter Urton in the second choice, the 4, El Potente for Barrios and Blacker at 2-1. Let's see who we're going with in race 5, Thunder Road at Santa Anita on Saturday. I'm going 1-4-3, and it looks like I'm the contrarian because these two boys are both going 4-1-3. Ryan, we'll start the conversation with you. What'd you like about El Potente, who I believe is coming out of the same race as the one, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, they're both coming out of the same race, but El Potente was against the pace scenario last time. Gas Me Up was greatly helped by it. In my opinion, I think El Potente is better at 2 turns. I thought down the hill was fine, but I think stretching out back to 2 turns is exactly what this horse wants to do. Loves Santa Anita, 5 for 8 in the win category, 3 for 5 at the mile, never out of the trifecta going. The 8 furlongs that they'll be going in the Thunder Road. I think El Potente is the lone speed in here. He's going to play Catch Me If You Can, and I don't think they're going to be able to.
Jackson, I know you're more of a – I don't know, you like to look at pace scenario and how things played out during the race, especially when you can go and look at the chart and stuff like that. Did you like him because you thought he kind of hung around a little bit better with a pace that, really set up for the one last time?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and anytime you see fractions or pace figures go to 160 early on, they were moving up front, and it just really, really set up for horses from way out the back. I mean, Gas Me Up he was like 10 lengths out the back early on in that race. So the race completely fell apart. El Potente was up there the whole time. And on Saturday, it's supposed to be completely different. It's supposed to be El Potente up front by himself, controlling things, dictating terms to everyone else, whereas Gas Me Up is probably going to work a lot harder early on just to stay in touch with El Potente. So that was the only reason I put him on top, especially if he's going to be a better price, which I'm not so sure the morning line is going to hold up. But if it does, then 2-1 seems like a pretty fair price.
Yeah, Gas Me Up was the 9 in there, coming over the top and getting the job done at 13-1. Much to the chagrin of my dad that day, who singled him in the pick 5 and was able to cash for a pretty decent score that day. Yeah. And El Potente was the 8 in there, who kind of got the lead early on and flattened out a little bit as those two from the outside were making up some ground. I know it might have seemed a little circumstantial for Gas Me Up last time just because he got a pretty good setup. But I thought he had some decent numbers before that and some good runs, especially in the mile. I know we were kind of talking about that in the group chat that we've got, but I thought he kind of ran a bang-up race in the Breeders' Cup Mile. I mean, he was 60-1 that day, but he was out in the parking lot, wide on both turns, and actually finished up okay. Only lose about 4 lengths of ground in terms of where Notable Speech finished that day. And then, Jackson, I want to get your question about this because I've heard you mention before that Inner Turf at Woodbine is a little bit like Gulfstream. Yeah. I thought I kind of wanted to forgive the effort that he ran in the Woodbine Mile just because I feel like that 2 to 3 wide stalking trip is, typically not ideal at Gulfstream. And if they're pretty similar, I would think that could maybe be the case there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a very, very valid point. He was pressing the whole way. He was wide the whole way. And look, he ran 3rd to Notable Speech, who is clearly better than anything we have in America, not just out on the West Coast. I mean, he just crushed everything we have. So he's not that far behind those horses in here. But again, I just think for me, it was all about the tactical advantage in this race. It just sure seems like El Potente is going to have things his own way.
Yeah, and it's no secret that there's no big discrepancy in terms of talent between the 1 and the 4 in the race as well. The last one that we've got to mention is the horse that we've all gotten 3rd, Watsonville. Ryan, you can wrap things up in terms of this race. One that was a winner last time. He's got 1 race, I believe, he's got more than that. Sorry. 1 race as of recent down the hill of Daytona. I thought you could make some excuses for him just because it didn't really set up for him that day. But the mile, I think, is definitely going to suit him a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean, someone's got to finish 3rd in here, and I think this is this is kind of the horse that we all seem to have landed on. I view it as a 2-horse race. I don't think the 5 has much of a shot. Has been up close on some slow paces and just hasn't really got it done. Same with the 2, Lord Bullingdon. This probably wants to go a little bit longer, so it felt like the 3, Watsonville, was the clear kind of 3rd choice. And good to see Freysu back in the irons after that opening day injury.
Definitely.
Yeah, I don't play many trifectas, but this feels like a race I might play an ice cold try and just try to get 10-1 on it or something like that.
Yeah, the other 2 are the 5, Namarone, who I think is probably just slow at this point in comparison to the rest of the field. And then Lord Bullingdon, you haven't seen him since June. I think this is probably just a starting point to maybe get his 5-year-old campaign underway. So I think that can round out the conversation for the Thunder Road as we move on to race 6. And race 6 is the newly named, I can't remember what the name of this race was before they changed it. Do you guys know what the name of this race was?
The Las Flores, maybe?
That actually could be right. I think was it Copian that won this race?
Is it not the Santa Monica?
Or it could be that too. I think those are both kind of in the winter to spring kind of.
It was the Santa Monica. You're right.
Wasn't? Okay.
I'm only looking at Splendora's race in this last year, and I figured that was the only one.
This race is now named after the great one, Dwayne Lucas, grade 2, $200,000 purse going 7 furlongs. We've got older fillies and mares, and you can see the field down below. Morning line favorite is last year's Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint winner, Splendora, for Bob Baffert and Juan Hernandez. She's at 4-5 on the morning line. Second choice is the 7, Formula Rosa, coming out from a second place finish in the grade 1 on opening day at 5-2 for Glatt and Mike Smith. Let's see who we're going with in this race. Let me get this up on the screen, and there it is. I'm going 5-7-1. Jackson's going 1-5-7, and Ryan's going 5-4-1. So Jackson is the contrarian in race 6. Jackson, you'll start us off with Simply Joking, who came out of that same race at Formula Rosa, ran a runner-up at 6-1 on the line. What do you like about this runner?
Yeah, and I'm really not against Splendora, and I know the Breeders' Cup Filly Mare Sprint got, it wasn't as exciting as we had hoped with all the scratches that happened in there, but she still ran very well and crushed that field and ran a very fast number. And if she runs back to that race, she's probably supposed to win. I just feel like this is probably just a starting point for her as well. I can't imagine the goal was to win this race in February when there's bigger fish to fry down the road. So maybe we see her B effort on Saturday. And I've always been a fan of Simply Joking, who's maybe she's finally rounding back into form. I know they got really ambitious with her sending her out to Keeneland this fall where things didn't quite work out. But, she came back to California and she's run an improved race in the Biocoa, came back again last time in La Brea, ran an improved race in there. And maybe she's just kind of going in the right direction. She's improved her last 3 starts. If she takes another step forward in here, if she's able to run a low 90s, mid 90s buyer, I don't think that's going to be that far off what it's going to take to win this thing. It might even put her in the winner's circle. And she did have a little bit of trouble in the turn right here when Artisma is going to back up into her. She had to pause very briefly, had to go around that foe. She was never going to beat Usha, but maybe that could have cost her second in there. And I do think she's going to get a good trip in this spot.
Yeah, this was her down on the inside that you're talking about. Jackson and the 9 Formula Rosa that day just got to her a little bit late, and she was able to get up for second. But both, I thought, ran considerably well, considering that Usha was 5 lengths clear of those two, and nobody, like you mentioned, was getting to her that day. Ryan, I'll throw it to you. I like her as a horse. I'm not sure how much she loves to be kind of down on the inside taking dirt. I know the Oaks was a disaster. The Raven one was kind of a disaster. It kind of seems like she runs her better races when simply her face is pretty clean.
Yeah, that could very well be the case. And I like everything Jackson said. This is also an improving horse. So I think the 1 turn, the 7 panels certainly fits. I'm not a huge fan of the Formula Rosa, Simply Joking, or the La Brea, I should say, where Usha just completely dominated them. That looked like a very competitive race on paper, and she just kind of blew them away in there. And I also think Splendora's B race wins. I just –
that's fair.
She's done – so little wrong. All the horses she's lost to would be 4-5 or lower in this spot. Richie, Copian, Hope Road. I mean, it's tough to get around her in here. She's not going to be a bettable price. I think she's by far the most likely winner. I tried to get cute with the 4 as the immediate underneath play. I just thought also another one that's kind of improving that closed nicely from off the pace for Phil D'Amato first up last time out, and could maybe take another step forward, but again, no strong opinions, no strong play against Splendora.
Would you guys bet Splendora to win at 4-5?
Yes, yeah.
I don't know. I might lean towards no. Actually, I know
you went a little higher than that.
I know I've got her on top, but I think the counter to Ryan's argument would be yes, Hope Road and Ricci would be short prices, but boy, they were bad that day. I mean, Hope Road was awful. Ricci, whoever was on, I think it was Sayas on Ricci, was just pumping the entire way. Yeah. I mean, those two were bad. So I know she beat that field by almost 5, but I mean, that kind of the time to have her. And maybe I'm just saying that because I actually did have her. That was one of the few winners I had that day. And I will say I watched some of her works. She does look pretty good. Doesn't look, super like workmanlike. Maybe to get to a starting point could be the assumption, but she looked pretty good. But I do agree with the point that her better races, maybe not her best, her better races definitely get the job done. But I think I'd like to pair her up with maybe the 1 or the 7 underneath to maybe, cold cock something.
Yeah. No, I like it. And if I'm not mistaken, Bob Baffert and Dwayne Lucas had a pretty good relationship too. So you got to imagine this is probably a race he would really like to win.
Yeah. And Eric Walker actually mentions in the chat that a former runner from the Dwayne Lucas barn, Lemon Muffin, is here, which is pretty cool, and says that it would be pretty cool to see her run a big race. I know she had run some bigger races kind of earlier on in her career when she was 4 years old. Hasn't, found that form as of recent, but, if she gets back to some of those races, I don't think she could be impossible to maybe make some noise. And the last horse that we've got to touch on, and Jackson, I'll throw it to you, is a horse that ran second and just beat your top pick in the number 7 Formula Rosa.
Yeah, she's going to be the second choice in here, and probably for good reason. She does have plenty of fast numbers to run back to. 2 back, she tried to chase home Sweetest Tekka. That didn't quite work out. And then last time, she was so far back, and I think we even talked about it before that race. Like, she's going to be so far back for absolutely no reason, and she was. I don't know why she was almost last going down the backside. With her having the outside post today, I mean, there's no one to her right. She's going to just break, and she'll be much closer than she was in her prior start. I just don't know if you want to take 5 or 2 on her when I don't know if 5 or 2 is a fair price in her. I think I would need to have a little bit higher than that to bet her to win.
Yeah, I knew you were going to mention that because that was a bit of a puzzling ride that she got last time.
Well, the horse to her outside broke really quickly, to be fair. That horse did break off like a shot, but then he just didn't really try to put her in the race. Like, okay, we're going to go to last now. Like, you didn't need to do that.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, there's nobody to her right, so it'd be pretty difficult for Mike Smith to not get her in the race, which could set up well for her. But like you said, maybe a little reluctant to take her at 2-1 or 5-2 when you got some other talented fillies and mares in here. So we'll go ahead and move on. We're going to skip race 7 and move straight to race 8, which starts the $5 late double. Race 7, the race that we're not talking about, starts the $3 late pick 3. Both bets 15% takeout, of course. And race 8 is the feature of the day. It's the Robert B. Lewis. I'll get that up on the screen in just a second. And there is the field right there. $100,000 purse, grade 3 Robert B. Lewis, a mile on the main track for straight 3-year-olds. Trivia question for you guys, because it was such a hit last week. How many points does the winner get?
20.
10.
Those actually both could be correct. I actually have no idea. I was going to find
this guy.
What are these trivia questions? We got better questions.
It was more.
Trivia night sucks on this show.
It was more trying to get the right answer. I was hoping you guys had the same answer.
It's 20.
Then I would be
it says on the description 20 Kentucky Derby points. It's in all caps in the center of the description, guys.
I didn't read it.
Mainly Noah, because he's asking trivia questions that make.
Isn't the first rule of hosting don't ask questions you don't know the answer to? Or no, that's being a lawyer. Never mind. I take it back. That's being a lawyer. Sorry, that's the Charlie question.
Yeah, Charlie. Yeah. Field of 7 for this year's Robert B. Lewis and the morning line favorites down to the inside. Desert Gate at 6-5 for Juan Hernandez and Bob Baffert. Baffert's got 3 in here, including the inside 3. He's got the 1, 2, and 3, Desert Gate, Plutarch, and Cherokee Nation. Second choice, I believe, on the morning line is the 4, Intrepido for Barrios and Mullins, and then another runner to the outside. And the 7, Secured Freedom at 6-1. Let's see who we're going with in the Robert B. Lewis. 3 different directions. I'm going 7-1-3. Jackson's going 3-7-1, and Ryan's going 4-7-2. Ryan's going to the American Pharoah winner in Intrepido, who we haven't seen for a little while. Haven't seen him since the Breeders' Cup, but looking to bounce back and start off that 3-year-old career with a bang.
Yeah. Look, mainly I'm against Desert Gate in here. Had the lead, had everything his own way. I know it said he was only in first by a head. The horse that was pressing him was Christofferson, also trained by Bob Baffert, was way out in like the 5 path, wasn't really pressuring him the entire way. He just had nothing turning for home. He just kind of plodded along there. Plutarch kind of came up to him and they kind of almost hooked up a little bit, but Intrepido finished that race off really nicely. Yes, took a little bit of a step back in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Maybe just went in a little too deep. Maybe something went wrong. We haven't seen this horse since then, but seems to be training forwardly. I really like the work on January 24th, going third best of 42 in the morning from the gate, going 5 furlongs and just a couple ticks under a minute. I think Intrepido, while this is a starting off point, clearly 20 points does not get you in the gate. I think he showed a lot of promise in his 2-year-old season and could definitely take a step forward now as a 3-year-old.
Yeah, and this is him kind of exploding late. I don't know whether to believe, he was really doing his best running in that, final 16th, or whether maybe the 1 and the 3 were getting tired. I still don't know, which is honestly why I don't have him in the mix. But he's honestly very capable. I mean, the win was impressive. He did it well and did it nicely. So I would think, some of the Baffert runners would take some money and he would be around 7-2, maybe even 4-1, float up and get a good price on him. I would think.
That's what I'm thinking too. I'm thinking 7-2 is a more than fair price. I wouldn't take lower than 3-1, but I don't think it's going to be. I don't think you'd get lower than 3-1 unless he's the worst kept secret on the grounds. But I haven't heard anything yet.
Yeah, let's go to the maiden. Jackson's got the maiden on top. The 3 Cherokee Nation, who just ran second to Robusta. That's probably Robusta. A Doug O'Neill runner who popped at a big price last time in a small field. I tell you what, he didn't have much chance in that race after the start.
Yeah, and look, my big opinion in this race is I don't trust the form of the American Pharaoh. I don't think it was a very strong race. I thought Desert Gate is absolutely supposed to win that race with the trip he got, and with him being 4-5, I think he ran very well. And Trepido kind of took advantage of a bad field and then came back and wasn't very good in the Breeders' Cup either. I mean, he was bet in there like he was supposed to run well and then just didn't at all behind a slow pace. So I wanted to fade everyone coming out of that race. And it feels like Cherokee Nation, his form is a little dirtied up recently, as you kind of alluded to. He just completely blew the brake last time and found himself dead last behind a crawling pace, went wide around the final turn and closed in a hurry. And he has more speed than that. We've seen him show much more speed than that. He did it at Churchill Downs when he broke well and tried to make the front and just got completely shut off going in the first turn there. Didn't get the trip he wanted that day. And then he even go back to his second start, the race 3 back. He went up against Mr. AP and he set a fast pace, got the best of the other speeds and looked like he was done and battled all the way back to the wire and just barely lost by nose. Mr. AP was third in the Breeders' Cup right behind Brant and Ted Noffium. Those horses are way, way better than what he's going to face on Saturday. And I just feel like he's not the typical backer. He's not going to be super flashy, not super speedy. He's just going to grind. He's going to hang around. And if he can break much better than he did in his last couple starts and be forwardly placed, I think he's got a huge shot to win this race, and he's not going to be amongst the favorites in here.
Yeah, I don't mind the pick. I kind of got similar vibes to this race as I did the American Pharaoh, because I feel like those 3 were kind of bunched up in that race. And this field of 5 was within like a length and a half when all was said and done. So I didn't really know what to do. I think he's the one you definitely want out of it just because, he didn't break very well, closed in with slow pace and was running on late. And another one I think, like you said and alluded to, could maybe have some versatility. He showed some speed before. I think Desert Gate's probably going to be going from the inside, so you would think he'd maybe be able to kind of secure, hopefully, that rail position and kind of save ground in terms of the dynamic there. And certainly wasn't the case with the poor start that he had last time. So I don't mind the pick. I've got him third, obviously, and I think he's kind of an interesting up and comer. And speaking of interesting up and comer, I've got the 7 Secured Freedom. Now I know the first thing Ryan's going to say is this horse can't get 2 turns, but if this
opinion.
If this Son of Practical Joke is going to get 2 turns, then it's going to be at a mile. It's not going to be a mile 16th or anything longer than that. This was the same race that Captain Shreve was coming out of, as well as Liam Smith. And I just based off the race and the number that came back with Captain Shreve, I still feel like the number was legit. Now I know Captain Shreve either matched his buyer or was, with plus or minus 1 point But yeah, Ryan's spot on. He got the number because he didn't go to the lead. So I didn't really
worst ride of the weekend.
Understand the ride there. And I know he's maybe got some distance limitations on the top side, but it's an Uncle Mo mare. He just seems like one of those typical Yak team runners that's going to get better with time and distance, and was definitely running his best in that final furlong and those last few jumps at Santa Anita on opening day. So I wanted to give him another shot. I think he's going to be sitting a nice stalking outside trip, and we've all actually got him in the mix. So I'll throw it to you guys to add on anything I didn't.
Sure, I'll go. Yeah, look, this horse is going to be fast early. If this horse is going to get anywhere close to a mile, it's probably going to be in this race. I don't love any horses in here. Desert Gate can absolutely beat me. Intrepido is the horse that I liked as a 2-year-old, so I got to like him in here coming back. 5 has no shot. 6, I mean, it feels like if you're going to beat a Baffert, you go to the Octane, and that's worked in the past, so going to try it here.
Yeah, the other one's Plutarch. I know you've got him in third, Ryan, but I think with the time that we've got left, we would rather hear what you've got to say about the last race of Sweet Life. So I think we'll go ahead and move on to that race. But our picks for the Robert B. Lewis, I'm 7-1-3, Jackson 3-7-1, and Ryan is 4-7-2. In the last race, the finale on Saturday, is the Sweet Life. It's up on the screen now. $100,000 purser going 6.5 furlongs down the hill on that turf course at Santa Anita. And this is definitely the best betting race in terms of the races that we've been covering on this show tonight. Field of 12, and the morning line favorite is the 6, Himica, for Juan Hernandez and Bob Baffert at 3-1. The second choice, the 10, Mohaven at 4-1 for Barrios and Sadler. And I'll get all picks up on the screen right now. 3 different directions once again. I'm going 1-3-5. Jackson's going 3-1-7, and Ryan's going 12-2-1. Ryan's got about a minute and change before he's got to get out of here. So Ryan, I'll throw it to you to talk about any of the runners in this finale.
Yeah, I'll go with the 12. I'll go with my top pick, 20-1 on Total Val for Mandela and Mirko de Muro. A couple okay turf efforts. I do think the down the hill is going to fit this runner quite well. I think it kind of is going to bring her a little bit into the race. She was up on a slow pace last time, but I feel like she might want to target, as was evident by that 2-back maiden breaking performance where she got up really nicely over next out winner Ramayama. I think going down the hill, again, you mentioned best betting race on the card that we were talking about today. I do think Total Val is going to fit here. Has to work out a bit of a trip, but going down the hill, you're kind of making a left turn and a right turn. So there's plenty of time to kind of figure out where you need to be. And I think while she doesn't have a whole lot of early speed, I do think going down the hill naturally brings a horse a little bit more into the race. So I want to see her maybe mid-pack, and Mirko's done very little wrong on the grass since he's come over here. He's given beautiful ride after beautiful ride, Princess Moche being one of them. And before I take off here, Jackson is 1-15 now. Or 15-1.
15-1.
Yeah, don't get those switched out. That's a big difference.
15-1.
Yeah, but he's 0-1 from his last.
Call me the 2019 Cleveland Browns because we're 1-15, baby. We got the win. Simple song was a donkey. But that's all I got.
Did he? He might still be on the track. Actually,
he might be. I think he just turned it into a workout. But
yeah,
guys, I gotta jump, guys. But best of luck the rest of the way. Thank you, guys. See you guys later.
Peace. All right, should we talk shit about Ryan?
Of course.
Well, we can talk pick about his. We can talk shit about his pick, because I don't think this horse has a chance in hell. But Ryan's done that before. Exhibit A is Lovesick Blues, so I won't even step into that realm.
Nope, I'm good.
Step into that category. We'll go to the topic that you've got, the number 3, yours sincerely. Well, I know you've got a pretty good opinion on, at least in terms of the races that we've talked about, who came off of a nice win last time.
Yeah, she did. And that's the first time sprinting. They finally cut her back after the routes weren't working. And what I liked most about that race is she showed a dimension she never really had. And that was, she found some new speed. She never showed any kind of speed going 2 turns. So you would think going back to a sprint, she'd be way out the back, but she was actually pretty close to what was a fast pace. I mean, I think all the fractions were color-coded red, and she's pretty close. She's not really in a comfortable spot. She's kind of between horses, kind of not really behind them, not exactly drafting in behind either. And once she finally got in the clear in the stretch, I mean, she got the job done relatively easily, I thought. And I don't see any reason why going down the hill is going to be an issue for her. We know she can run effectively at a mile, so 6.5 shouldn't be a problem. And I was kind of surprised she's 6-1. Honestly, that's mainly why I had her as my best bet. Maybe we don't actually get 6-1 because the 2 horses that are favored have no turf form whatsoever. So if she is actually going to be 6-1 behind a couple horses that are only running on the dirt, then that's a really good price.
Yeah, I'm afraid to say it, but I think that's going down. I think
it very well could. Yeah,
she's probably going to be 7-2, maybe half that, 3-1. I find it hard to believe that she's going to be that price, especially with the question marks that you've got from. The 6 is the Baffert runner, the favorite that's never been on turf. I know Doug's got a runner that we haven't seen for a while. It's a bit of a shorter price on the morning line, so I could see a scenario where maybe an outside chance that she's favored, but I definitely think you're not going to be getting that 6-1. But I do like her. Got her in second. Saw the things you saw was kind of in between around the far turn. Maybe would have liked to see her do a little more convincingly, but I mean, she got the job done. She did what she was supposed to do. So I think she's got a big shot in the finale. And then a runner that I kind of thought was a bit of a sneaky pick, and actually you guys both would have had her in the mix. You got her at second. Hypergamy, who's coming out of the Blue Northern. The winner that day was La Vie Lumiere, who I think is one of the shorter prices, and another one that's got a big shot in here. I mean, you can make several cases. But she was one that I thought found herself a little further back than she prefers last time. And then Jaramillo made this big wide move into a slow pace, and the rails were out that day. Got a little tired late. I think the cutback's going to work out nice for her. It looks like she's been working well too. Maybe the rail would be a bit tricky just because, like Ryan had said, the 12 post is a little bit better just because they take that right-hand turn. But at least when they come back around and start going back left-handed, she's going to save some ground. So I thought she was interesting, and obviously you did too.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about the Blue Norther, I think is what Norther or something like that.
Northern, man.
That was just such a bizarrely run race. I mean, they went so slow. I didn't know what to make of it because she was dead last and they were absolutely crawling. And she makes this huge wide move, basically passes the entire field, and then kind of flattened out, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, theoretically, the 6.5 should be good for her.
Yeah.
But how was she last in there? Like, she's got to be more speedy and to have a chance in this race, you would think.
Yeah, I would hope that Jaramillo would maybe correct his mistake. I don't actually remember what ended up happening early on in that race and why she was so far back. I think she got kind of squeezed back a little bit by the 3 Peanut Butter Bomb and ended up kind of taken back to last. But then, she made this big move like she was just going to smoke that field, and then she just like stayed in place ever since after they had hit the 8th pole. So I don't know. I wanted to forgive it a little bit. Like you said, the fractions were strange. It was kind of an efficiently run race. So I wanted to give her one more shot. You're going to get a price on her. Yeah. So I'd be going in the direction of the 1 Hypergamy. Talked about the 3. I guess I'll mention another horse that Ryan's got in here, and that was actually the winner that day, who makes a bunch of sense. I mean, she's got 2 wins on turf. One of them was actually sprinting way back, and she had actually lost on debut to the 5 who I've gotten third, who's another one of the O'Neill runners we haven't seen for a while. But the 2 makes a ton of sense, and 8-1's probably a fair price on her as well.
How do you say the name of the 2?
La Vie Lumiere? I think that's pretty good.
No idea. I just wanted to hear you say
that's pretty good considering my track record when it comes to some of these pronunciations. Struck by her, 12-1 on the line. Another D'Amato runner who will be ridden by Florent Giroux. Now, if you guys aren't aware, it came out a couple of days ago that Giroux will be moving his tack to the West Coast for the time being. I don't know how long that's going to be happening, but he hooked up with Matt Nakatani, who is the agent of Rispoli, and Rispoli is going to be out because of the accident he had over the Pegasus weekend. But you got the 7 at 12-1 and third.
Yeah, and if you recall, this is a horse I gave out to literally anyone that would listen when she ran last time on that day. I think it was actually the day the Eagles lost the playoffs. So that's why I remember. That was the only good part about my day.
Yeah,
I have to bet her back in here if she's going to be 12-1. I will say she got just a perfect setup, ton of pace, a really good ride from Rispoli, and was kind of all out to win there. She's got to run much faster than she did last time because that 56 buyer is not getting it done in this race.
She did beat a next up winner, who I think was Sunday, who was owned by Jeff Siegel, which is kind of cool. I know they had a little memoriam in the winner's circle for him. And I remember that race well because Acoustic Kitty was one I wanted to bet on Saturday, and then she scratched, and then I bet her on Sunday. She was way out the back because she was flying, but then couldn't quite get there. Ran a nice third. But
needed her for a lot.
Yeah, the point there is the winner of that race ran in this race and improved her by, I think, 10 or 12 points.
Right.
Now I would have to look again to see what, some of the other horses that have come back have done. But like you said, this was one that was more kind of well meant first out, and another one that I think could take a big step forward.
What do you do with Mo Haven? I know you don't have her anywhere, but is it just solely based on the price, or are you just way against this filly?
I don't know. At first instinct, I feel like this is a combo that they do very well on the turf, and Sadler's a guy that obviously does very well on the turf, and Barrios as well. The one thing that kind of steered me the wrong way is Sadler's a little cold right now. I've kind of bet him a couple of times, and some of his horses have been a little disappointing. And that's just kind of the name of the game. Sometimes you're hot, sometimes you're not. But it wasn't really so much of a red flag that she was trying turf for the first time. I don't really have too much of a doubt that she's, not going to handle it. I would think, Sadler would know best. Obviously, he's around her every day. But it's a question mark. And the fact that she's going to be a short price in a big field with a lot of contenders is another question mark as well.
Yeah, I was a little concerned about the grass for her. There's not a ton of turf pedigree in here, and I wonder if this is kind of just a starting point to prep her for, I believe it's the Evening Jewel is the one-turn race on the dirt for Cowbreds. That seems like a spot where she'll be very short price.
Yeah, I'm not. I know they've kind of got that series for the 2-year-olds that starts at Delmar and then kind of continues throughout the fall and the winter, but I'm not super familiar with the Cowbred kind of conditions and those ranks in terms of stakes races and state-bred stakes races kind of as the 3-year-old year goes on.
Right.
So just in terms of, maybe where we would see her next, I couldn't quite, answer that for you, but I don't know. I mean, do you want to leave this combo off your ticket? I mean, she might even float up just because some of the runners that we talked about could seriously take some money. I don't know. I think it's case by case.
Yeah, I would probably use her just because this is a tough race. It's a very tough race, and she's speedy. She's on the outside.
Yeah, we've got a question in the chat from a fan who asks us, who is the best West Coast-based Derby prospect as of now? Would you say Brant, Potente, Litmus Test, or somebody else?
It's not Brant. He doesn't want to go 2 turns. Are you impressed by Litmus Test? Because I haven't been really, to be honest. I don't know. Like I feel like, look, we got to start the Bafferts, and I feel like Baffert has no idea what he has right now. I think he's kind of just throwing things out there and seeing what sticks. And I don't know. It's very wide open. That's why I'm so curious to see what's going to happen on Saturday.
Yeah, I kind of keep going back to, I think the one that's going to be the best come the 1st of May is probably going to be a horse that we haven't even seen yet. And it actually could be the horse that was, the name is mistaking me, the horse that was supposed to run the Potente race. And
that's scratched.
Yeah, not the one that can't run, but the 3. I know the 1's name, but I don't know the 3's name.
It doesn't matter, but I know who you're talking about.
But he might be the best as of now. I mean, even though we haven't seen him, the works looked okay, and he's another one that I think could probably be pretty good. I mean, he's definitely got some high expectations for sure. We'll close out the show with best bets, of course. Ryan's up on there. He's not going to talk about it, but he's got a win bet on the number 4 Intrepido in race 8, which of course is the Robert B. Lewis 7-2 on the morning line. So good luck to him. Your best bet is in race 9, comes with the number 3, Yours Sincerely, who you pretty much just talked about.
Yeah, I'm kind of regretting not putting Cherokee Nation in there too. So maybe I'll get myself 2 best bets. I really like Cherokee Nation in there, especially if he's going to be, if he's going to be the 4th choice. Like we know he's not going to be favored in there. Yours Sincerely, as you kind of alluded to, could be. She's got the proven turf form. She's got tactical speed now all of a sudden, and she can also finish races. So I think if she gets the right kind of setup in there, and if she's at any kind of decent price, she's supposed to be pretty tough.
Yeah, I think so too. Good luck with your best bet in the last. I'm going in the same race as Ryan, going to the Yak Teen runner and the number 7 Secured Freedom. go back to the fact that I still find reasons to believe that number was legit. I think he's going to be better with more ground and more time. Yaktin's kind of that guy that very honest with his younger horses, and when they pop big, either first or second out and run some big figs, it seems like they can continue to progress. So I would expect a step forward from the number 7 Secured Freedom, and hopefully he takes that step forward and gets the job done in the Robert B. Lewis.
The name was Crude Velocity. Shout out to the kid Nate who provided that, because I totally forgot. But I agree, that horse is interesting to watch.
Nate, you the man. Appreciate that. Crude Velocity. As we wrap up the show tonight, a little bit of a shorter show, but I want to get you guys out. Obviously, Ryan had to get out, but Jackson, any parting words for the viewers?
We skipped race 7, but if you're betting race 7, I like Sir Percival in there. He's 5-1.
Would you play a double starting in race 6 to race 7?
No,
maybe. Why not?
I'll play the late pick 3 for sure.
But race 6 is the Cherokee Nation race.
No, that's race 8.
Oh, you're right. What's race 6?
The D. Wayne Lucas.
Oh, you're right.
That race I thought was really tough. I picked the 1, but she's kind of more of a value pick, because I could see Splendor winning for fun. I could see her winning by a nose. I could see her finishing off the board. That was a really tough race.
Yeah, a couple of tough races, even though there are a couple shorter fields, some of those earlier races, and then that finale is quite a doozy. So good luck to everybody on Saturday that's playing, for Jackson, for Noah, for Ryan, who is not here anymore. This has been episode 65 Pacific Horseplayers, talking about the stakes races this Saturday at Santa Anita. And of course, until next time, BHP out.